Imagine this, a packed Camp Nou, a Champions League night. Lionel Messi receiving the ball with his back turned, spinning in a single movement, and threading that surgical pass only he can see. Who receives it? Ivan Rakitic. One-touch control, a clean strike, and a beautiful goal. Shouts, hugs, smiles, and a football partnership that, although often overlooked, was key to one of Barcelona's golden eras. Today, that partnership says goodbye. Because yes, Ivan Rakitic has hung up his boots. And in his farewell, he didn't forget him. He didn't forget the greatest. He didn't forget Messi. Rakitic announced his retirement from professional football 4 months ago, at age 37, and he did it with a video that not only moves you, but also makes clear how much football truly means to those who lived it for real. In that open letter, written with his heart in his hand, he thanked football for everything, for the joy, for the triumphs, for the friends. And when he spoke about Barcelona, he said it bluntly. I played with the best. I lifted trophies. I lived magical nights at the Camp Nou. You gave me the privilege of being part of your history. And of course, among those best was Messi. Who else? Rakitic wasn't a flashy number 10 nor a rugged number 5. He was that kind of modern midfielder with both craft and class. He arrived at Barca in 2014 and left in 2020. 6 years, 310 matches, 36 goals, 13 titles. But above all, a consistency that earned him everyone's respect. Even in a team where the spotlight was always on Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. And yet, there he was, always starting, always reliable, always important. How many times did you see him slip a through ball to Leo, or cover his back when Messi started one of his epic runs? He didn't need to shine himself. Rakitic was one of those players who made others shine. But his career isn't limited to Barca. In Sevilla, he was an idol. In Croatia, a legend. He was part of that golden generation that made history in 2018, reaching a World Cup final no one expected. He played more than 100 matches with his national team. He became Europa League champion with Sevilla, and even in Saudi Arabia, where many go seeking a comfortable retirement, he still tried to keep competing. But everything has an end, and his came now with a brave, elegant decision done his own way. And here's something worth thinking about. Why does he choose to mention Messi in his farewell? Because he's not just talking about titles, but about what it meant to be part of that team with the number 10. Because even for an elite footballer, sharing the pitch with Messi is not just a statistic, it's a privilege. It's part of his legacy. Rakitic understood that and valued it. And that says much more about his intelligence than any line-breaking pass. Because when we talk about legends, not everything is measured in goals or Ballons d'Or. You also have to look at who made the team better, who understood their role, and who was always up to the task. And in that sense, Rakitic was the perfect partner for Messi. He didn't argue with him, he didn't overshadow him, he elevated him. How many stars have done that? Very few. And pay attention to this. In times when many players choose the show, the likes, or the scandal, seeing someone say goodbye with humility, recognizing the value of his teammates, and expressing true gratitude is emotional. Because Ivan didn't leave like a shooting star. He left like a craftsman of talent, like someone who knew when to say enough, and who, even in his last play, chose Messi as part of his story. Now the question I ask you is simple. Do you think Rakitic is among the most underrated players of his generation? Or was he valued fairly? And how important do you think that partnership with Messi was in Barcelona's recent history? I'm reading your comments. I want to know your opinion. And if you enjoyed this look back at a career full of football, emotion, and respect, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Because here, in this little corner where football is told with soul, the stories never end. In my opinion, Ivan Rakitic said goodbye to football the way he lived his career, with respect, composure, without unnecessary noise, but leaving an indelible mark. In an era marked by dazzling stars and loud statements, the exit of a player like him, refined, cerebral, often underestimated, serves as a reminder that football is also built by those who understand their place, their role, and the value of consistency. Rakitic wasn't on the cover every day. He didn't create controversies. He didn't need to sell an image. Playing was enough for him, and he did it exceptionally well. His retirement doesn't come as a surprise, but it does strike a special chord. Because we're talking about a player who was part of everything, who was captain at Sevilla, A key cog in Barcelona's multi-champion era, World Cup runner-up with Croatia, and a symbol of the transition between two generations. And even so, when many list the great names of his time, he is sometimes forgotten. But maybe that's where part of his greatness lies. He never needed to claim the spotlight. His gift was understanding the game, interpreting it, being that piece that doesn't shine on its own but without which the puzzle collapses. His farewell letter to football includes phrases that hurt because of how sincere and transparent they are. "I played with the best," he said. And you understand he didn't say it lightly. Because yes, Rakitic played with Messi, and that shaped his career, not as dependency, but as partnership. Because Messi doesn't need pawns, he needs interpreters, and Rakitic was one of the best. His ability to know when to pass, when to support, when to cover Messi's back speaks to a level of tactical understanding that is rarely acknowledged. At Barcelona, he wasn't the marketing favorite, nor the one who sold the most shirts. But he was one of the most functional. He scored in a Champions League final, he played decisive matches, he endured unfair criticism when the team declined, and he didn't run to the press to complain. He responded on the pitch, with silence, professionalism, and a talent that many, out of prejudice or ignorance, never fully recognized. In Croatia, he was a symbol of a historic generation, not only because they reached the 2018 World Cup final, but because of what he represented in midfield alongside Modric, a duo blending elegance, effort, and a reading of the game rarely seen in national teams of lesser global weight. What they did in Russia was more than finishing as runners-up. It was a statement of character from a small country with huge players. And there he was again, not shouting, but always delivering. We can talk numbers: 887 matches, 125 goals, 141 assists, 17 titles. But if we analyze him only through numbers, we lose the essence. Because what made Rakitic great wasn't his stats. It was his way of being, of adapting, of not seeking to be the protagonist, but accepting the challenge whenever he had to be. That's a virtue few value, but inside a locker room, it's pure gold. Now he leaves, maybe without the massive tribute he deserves, but with the respect of the entire football world. And that respect is worth more than any trophy. Because when a guy like Rakitic retires and even Messi ends up being mentioned between the lines of his farewell, it's because he left a mark, because he rose to the occasion, because he understood that football isn't just talent. It's emotional intelligence, collective commitment, and humility. In times where egos abound, Rakitic is a living lesson on how you can be a star without needing to shout it. He leaves in silence, but with a standing ovation, because football, real football, is also built with people like him. Thank you, Ivan.